Hello students, let's continue with chapter 6 learning. In part 1 we have covered definition part of learning, key features of learning, paradigms of learning and classical conditioning. Today we will discuss about our next topic and that is operant conditioning. B.F. Skinner was the first person to work on this type of conditioning. He actually elaborated the concept of E.L. Thorndike and his law of effect, which states that behavior that have positive consequences are more likely to be repeated. You also must have experienced this. Work that gives you reward of some sort or have positive consequences. You happen to repeat them. That is the concept of law of effect. And the concept of operant conditioning, it is usually a type of learning in which an organism learns through the consequences of behavior, that is, learning by consequences. Let's now talk about the experiment done by B.F. Skinner. He developed an operant box that is also called Skinner box and worked with rats and pigeons. The chamber of box was built so that the rat could move freely inside the box. There was a lever in the box which when pressed delivered the food pellet. So when a hungry rat was placed in a Skinner box, at first it moved here and there, tried to explore the box and accidentally happened to press the lever. Immediately food was delivered. So the behavior of pressing of lever got a reward in the form of food pellet. As a result, after some time or some trials, rat learned that pressing of lever can provide food. After this learning, instead of aimless exploring the chamber, when rat is placed again in the chamber, rat press the lever immediately to get the food. This is called conditioning. That is learning by consequence, learning of behavior by consequence. Pressing of lever here is an operant response because rat operates on the environment and getting of food is its consequence. So the conditioning is complete and the behavior that is reinforced or rewarded tends to repeat. We also use every day this conditioning in our daily life. Good habits, manners shown by children are always praised and rewarded by parents, teachers, and this praise, appreciation, pat on the back, and even smile, it serves as a reinforcement to repeat good behavior, being polite with others, showing respect, things like that. If these things are encouraged, children happen to repeat those behaviors. Similarly, children who use abusive language, hit others, or engage in fight, they often are disliked or punished by their elders. Let's now talk about the determinants of operant conditioning. These are the factors that influence the course of operant conditioning. The first one is reinforcers. Reinforcers basically they are any stimulus or event that increases the behavior or likelihood of a desired response. Also the features of reinforcers they are very important and they decide the course and strength of conditioned response. Types of reinforcers are positive or negative. Also, the number or the frequency of reinforcer also affects the strength of the response. Quality, whether the reinforcer is of superior quality or the one that is inferior, also decides its course. Also, the schedule, whether it is given continuous reinforcement or partial reinforcement. All these features they affect operant conditioning. Another factor that influences the nature of response is the behavior that is to be conditioned. Also the time lapse or the interval or the length between the response and reinforcement. It also influences operant conditioning. In operant conditioning, there are two ways to increase behavior. Let's understand these different types of reinforcement. Reinforcement can be positive reinforcement or it can be negative reinforcement. Positive reinforcement, they always have pleasant consequences. They strengthen the response and increases probability or occurrence of desired response. Positive reinforcers, they satisfy needs like food, warmth, praise, money, status, and information. Examples of this can be a child cleans his or her room and the parents they give him chocolate or a toy. Another example can be a teacher gives you extra 5 marks for appearing in all your weekly tests during your academic year. Here, a response is strengthened by adding something that has a pleasant consequence. Whereas in negative reinforcement, a response is strengthened by subsequent removal or avoidance of an aversive stimuli. Here in this case, it is taking away of something that has an unpleasant consequences. You do something to avoid, to reduce, or to eliminate something that you don't like. Example of this can be when you sit in your car and dashboard starts beeping until you put your seatbelt on. So to avoid that unpleasant consequences, what you do, you put your seatbelt on. Also, another example can be that child cleans his room and parents stop nagging. So here something is removed that is of unpleasant consequence. Another example of negative reinforcement can be when you have severe headache and you take medicine. So what happens afterwards? Your headache, it goes away. It gives you some relief. So next time when you again have headache, you take that medicine. So actions and behavior that have good consequences are likely to be repeated, and actions and behavior that have bad consequences are likely to be decreased. So let's now talk about different types of punishment. Punishment basically are of two types: positive punishment and negative punishment. In positive punishment, a response is weakened by the subsequent presentation of a stimulus, like adding an unpleasant consequences. Example of this can be a worker who always reaches late in office. He is being assigned to work for extra hours. Or a child who kicks his or her siblings gets scolding from parents. So what is happening here? Here something is added as an unpleasant consequence. In negative punishment, a response is weakened by subsequent removal of a stimulus in a situation where a pleasant consequence is removed. Example of this can be taking your mobile or your car or a favorite toy when you get poor grades in your class, taking away of employee discount. This can be an example of a negative punishment. Reinforcement always increases behavior and something is added in positive reinforcement. In negative reinforcement, to escape, you remove painful stimulus. In punishment, there is a decrease in behavior. In positive punishment, something that is of unpleasant consequences is added. In negative punishment, you take away or remove something that has a positive or pleasant stimuli. Similarly, number of reinforcement and other features, they also influence behavior. Number of reinforcement, it basically refers to number of trials the organism is reinforced or rewarded. In amount of reinforcement, it is how much of a reinforcing stimulus one receives in every trial. Example, whether you get a candy or a jar full of candy. In quality of reinforcement, it is whether you get something that is superior or you desire, or something that is of inferior quality, the much less desired one. Example, getting a cash reward of rupees 5,000 is the one thing that you desire in comparison to a chocolate bar. The operant conditioning increases as the amount, number, and the quality of reinforcement increases. Let's now talk about schedules of reinforcement. It basically means arrangement of the delivery of reinforcement during conditioning. During conditioning, if for every correct response reinforcement is given, then it is called continuous reinforcement. And if it is given at some time and not at other time, then it is called inconsistent or partial or intermittent reinforcement. In case of delayed reinforcement, there is a time gap between the action and after time it is given. Immediate and effective timely reinforcement always have a positive effect, but delayed reinforcement and too much of time lapse between action and occurrence of reinforcement, it leads to poorer level of performance. Reinforcement is better and effective, and it strengthens the desired behavior, whereas punishment leads to weakening of the behavior. Sometimes punishment has no effect at all, and the punished person, he develops dislike and hatred for the punishing agent or the person who administers the punishment. Let's now talk about the major differences between classical conditioning and operant conditioning. In classical conditioning, responses are involuntary in nature and they are automatic, whereas in operant conditioning, responses are voluntary. An organism operates on the environment. In classical conditioning, associating events are stimulus with another stimulus, whereas in operant conditioning, associating response is with a consequence. There is a reinforcer or punisher. In classical conditioning, conditioning is implemented before response, whereas in operant conditioning, conditioning is implemented after response. In classical conditioning, first a stimulus is produced and then the desired behavior is expected. Whereas in operant conditioning, first we get a behavior pattern and then either by reward or by avoidance of punishment, we reinforce the behavior. In classical conditioning, it stresses more on what precedes behavior, whereas in operant conditioning, it stresses on what follows response. Occurrence of unconditioning stimulus is controlled by experimenter in classical conditioning, whereas in operant conditioning, this is controlled by an organism. So let's do a quick recap. Operant conditioning is learning by consequences, and good and pleasant consequences, they always increases behavior, whereas bad consequences or unpleasant consequences, they decrease behavior. That's all for today. I hope the concepts are clear to you now. Thanks for watching.